Hello, everybody. I'm Secondhand Coke, and welcome to SHC TV, Secondhand Coke Television. This is your daily reminder that if my slow southern drawl keeps you held up a little bit longer than you want to be, you can always set your speed to 1.25 or 1.5, and that might help uh, facilitate the video a little faster for you if that's what you need. And today we're going to just do a good secondhand Coke gossip session where I both complain and explain, reflect on gossip, past, present, and future, all after this. Okay, first let's talk about some gossip past, some gossip that I got wrong. And they're actually connected to each other in some odd way, probably because Megan's involved in both. Anyway, for the longest time, and many others were saying that the With Love Megan show, which didn't even have a title until late December, I'm told, would never see the light of day. And so I was very robust with that and felt very sure, especially since we're coming up on the end of the Netflix contract very soon, that that would be pretty true. Also, I knew that tr- Megan was having trouble with her brands for whatever products we knew she was trying to get out for whatever business we knew she was trying to start at the time, the home goods as ever line that we now know it to be. Started out being American Riviera Orchard, which she couldn't get trademarked, and so now it's as ever, which is also not trademarked yet. So interesting. But what was happening behind the scenes at Netflix that only the people who needed to know were hearing, or the only ones who needed to know were the only ones who knew. Um, what was happening was Megan was fighting with them over whether they were gonna release the title at all or the untitled at all. And then once she showed them they were committed, I think they were contractually committed to showing the title, then they were ready to just drop the show, similarly to how they did the Polo show, and be done with it and move on. Working with Megan has not been easy for those at Netflix, is is the overarching gossip going everywhere, and I don't think that will ever be proven wrong because it's absolutely true. She's a bully, and that comes out from more than just me. Um, anyway, so this title, With Love Megan, was shot back from April to June. They shot from that time period between April and June 2024. They shot 16 episodes for what would be one season of this show. At the time of release, Netflix said, "We're going to drop 8 of these episodes right in a row. We're not doing any marketing for them, and here's your trailer. We're dropping it on January 15th." And that was the first anybody knew that they were gonna drop the show and play it at all. And when I say drop, I mean put it on their streaming platform and let it stream for audiences. So Megan obviously is very upset because until January 2nd, even Time Magazine had on no calendar for Netflix upcoming shows can you find with Love, Megan before January 2nd, published anywhere? Nowhere. Um because it didn't happen until very in the early in the year, and I just don't really stay on top of Megan that much to have caught that when it happened, and I'm sorry to everybody. But anyway, Megan was upset about the January 15th release. She argued with them about that. They said they're not gonna budge, and then, like manna from heaven for Megan, what started to happen was Southern California started to burn down, which was such a boon for her, and this is how this woman is that she can look at a fire and not only insist on making it an opportunity to make a fire all about herself, but she can use it to manipulate Netflix to move the start date for her show back to March 4th. She went to them. She said, we should move it because of the fires. If you don't move it, I'm going to say Netflix is playing this show even though it doesn't seem appropriate, what with the fire and all. Now, it should be noted that another show was released on January 14th, there or 15th rather. There were 2 shows to be released on that date with Love, Megan, and another one I can't remember. But the one I can't remember went ahead and streamed on the 15th because nobody was canceling their release dates because of the fire. Supposedly Megan expected a world audience because of this thing. There was no reason for her to want to suspend it for the fire, except that she had motive to want to push the show release back as far as it could so that it would be as close as possible to when she could get her products out, as we have seen come to effect. Now, the other thing that I got wrong, as believe I've said, but if I haven't, I'm saying it now, was that throughout all the fall, everybody was saying Megan's not going to Invictus Games. That Invictus had approached Harry and said she was detracting investors, that they did not like the way that she tried to take attention away from the athletes, that Harry was separating all of his commercial interests from her. And they were supposedly going their separate ways commercially, so they should go separately commercially in this case. And at first, Megan was okay with that. But once Netflix moved the start date of whatever Megan or as ever, shit, you can't even remember what this stuff is called. Um, with Love, Megan, after Netflix said they would move that to March 4th, then Megan needed something so that she could publicize it to the ultimate extent. She only had herself and an Instagram account, but if she could tag along on an event getting a lot of publicity, like, oh, I don't know, her husband's Invictus Games event, an international charity for injured war veterans, then she on Instagram could drop little teasers for her show throughout and ride on the publicity of that event. And that is exactly what she decided to do. Harry, who apparently had his foot down at one point, didn't have the balls enough to keep it down because he picked it right up and he let her go. And she caused lots of drama while she is there. She was there allegedly. She left 3 days early, and the rumor is that she and Harry have been in such huge fights that Harry removed himself from her. She left 3 days early. Harry went on a day-long bender before he could even come back and start playing, and hosting the games again like he normally would have. Um, that's what happened there behind the scenes. So yes, I got it wrong, but I'm not really sure who could have got that right. I really don't know, but I'm sorry for being wrong. And as always, gossip is gossip is gossip. And that's what we're doing here. We're talking about people and we're saying, I heard this. And some of us hear things from different places. We all have heard and read different things. And so we discuss it. And some things turn out to be right, some things turn out to be wrong. But that's just how it works out when you're dealing with gossip. So that's the deal with that event. Let's move on to the next. Okay, so now we're going to talk about gossip present. And I made an entire video on the Sentabale scandal, and I'll encourage anybody to watch it if you want to. But probably the very best thing you should watch to get the behind the scenes on what's going on with this is the picture that is taken in the top right is taken from, I believe it is GB News interview with Dr. Sophie Chambuka, about what is going on with Prince Harry, who took his toys and went home, along with Prince Seso, regarding Sentabale, which is one of Harry's long standing legacy charities, that and Invictus, and that's why I'm going to Sentebale from the last screen is because we were just talking about Meghan ruining Invictus, and Meghan is ruining Sentebale for Harry, for the people who benefit from these charities. She's ruining them, she's bleeding them dry in terms of costs. And Dr. Chambuka on this interview, I hope I'm pronouncing her name right, but I think I am. But on that interview, she is very straightforward about what has been going on with Sentabale, which was functioning as a very reputable and very effective charity up until Megxit. And when Megxit happened, there started to be all this talk about taking Sentabale to America. Well, Meghan is setting up her own I mean, charity foundations in America, and she's making sure that they are settled quite nicely in the state of Delaware, because Delaware state tax laws say that you can take 95% of what is donated to a charity for operating costs and only use 5% for the purposes of the actual charity. Nothing has been set up yet, but that has been the problem, and people are within the charity that has been the cause of a lot of strife and a lot of argument, and people are scared to discuss it with Prince Harry because Prince Harry always defects to, you're just doing this because you're against my wife, and or however he says it. I should have done my Harry accent for it, but I forgot. I'm sorry. um you all just want to make my wife look bad, and I won't have it. I mean, she already looks bad enough on her own, I'm sorry, darling. I didn't mean to say it like, oh God, oh dear. Anyway, so my advice to you when it comes to what I shared with you in the past video about the Sentabale charity and how Meghan Markle, with Prince Harry as a willing stooge at her side, but Meghan Markle is running Sentabale, or wants to run this really good and really effective charity into the ground, just like she does and is doing with Invictus. And that's the gossip I'm sharing with you, is that these Harry's legacy projects are in jeopardy. And I don't mean the kind of jeopardy that Megan claims she liked to watch as a child. I mean, they're in jeopardy of losing everything, and this is Prince Harry's legacy, which in the royal family, legacies are what it's all about, is setting up what is going to outlive you, what history remembers you for. And these charities can, should, and would function as they always have functioned if Meghan were not on the scene. And I'm saying that, but it's something we need to be aware of, it's something we need to know about, and it's the kinda gossip that I think is serious because a lot of people were being helped by these charities, and those are the real losers in this situation. Okay, let's move on to some of the entertainment industry gossip that's going along. I pulled Netflix up here because I thought it bridged nicely from the Sentabale scoop that we were just talking about. Megan, if you didn't know, I then you should know. The Polo film or the Polo series that Harry put out, they had Netflix come in to record the polo event done for the Sentebale charity. The and it's played in, Wellington, Florida, and n nobody in the board of Sentabale wanted Netflix to be brought in. It blurs commercial and charitable lines, as nobody wants blurred, including the royal family, which was the whole problem with Harry and Meghan, and they're half in, half out in the first place, as we know. But nonetheless, Netflix comes in and they film the game. Um, then what happened was Meghan showed up without any announcement or any invitation or any r reason for her to be there, and she presents the cup to the winners, which, of course, includes Prince Harry's team, including kissing him, like, while holding the cup with him, and you can see there Dr. Sophie, she was the one who was supposed to present the cup as the chairperson of Sentabale, but, of course, we know who wormed herself front and center onto a stage and stood there and did it instead, and then made a spectacle of herself, up at in the top right there. But some new Netflix gossip has come out this week, or not gossip, but a claim made by a woman who had written a series of 3 books that had already been kind of published called Pearl Power. Where a girl's superpower is to go back in history and meet, famous women and um, learn from them and also learn about them in the process. And so what happened there is that it came out in the news cycle this time that she had written a letter and had legal service of a letter that Netflix should cease and desist their making of um the series that Megan was supposed to be making, back several years ago called Pearl, that it was too close to the concept that she had. I will put in the show notes the article about this particular series, the writer of Pearl Power and her experience with this. The implication with this particular story was wondering whether or not this is what interrupted the production of Pearl. And I just wanted to set or add some more information that has been circulating over the years about what stopped Pearl. First of all, it is plagiarized, and I did not know that it was plagiarized from this woman's books, but there's also a series written by Chelsea Clinton of all people where she writes about historical figures, and it was a series called She Persisted, and, of course, I had to mess with it and say she plagiarized in science to talk about Meghan, but, she also kinda covered famous girls and, that grew up to be famous women. So, what happened with Pearl is that Meghan is a lot of things, and there were a lot of problems that circulated, in that production. I have heard that animators said that she would never accept the animations that they did. She didn't like the way that they drew up the characters. She kept asking for changes. She kept wanting it to be like Disney. And the animators were like, "We're getting very close to plagiarizing Disney here." So there's, more plagiarism surrounding Pearl. Um, there was also a lot of issues with writing of each episode. I think there was a falling out. Remember Elton John's, husband or boyfriend, one or the other, David Foster was supposed to be helping out with the lyrics, and the writing of each episode, and, there was a big falling out there. Just you don't see Harry and Meghan hanging out with Elton and David anymore, like you used to at the beginning when they were riding on his private jet from here, there, and yon, and it's okay 'cause Elton threw some money at the Earth, and the Earth just healed its own ozone because of the cash that was there. Um, but, yeah, you don't see Harry and Meghan hanging out with Elton anymore or any of his kin, and a lot of it is said to be because of what went on behind the scenes at Netflix for the production of Pearl. So, this show was not canceled because of its plagiarizing of this woman's particular work, though if it is that Megan got hold of her material and plagiarized it, nobody is surprised. But one thing in the article that I read that the woman was it seemed to me like the woman was hoping in their finding out that she had written something like this already, that they would have included her in the production. But no, that production was never gonna happen because Megan was doing it, and she can't get things done, without sticking her hands in them and making a mess and aggravating everybody, and that aggravation is what called the quits on that. But one point that the creator of Pearl Power had was she was like, "I was really in love with this character in these 3 books that she had published in the mid to 20, 10s, somewhere like 2014, 15, 16, somewhere around in there." She said, "Is if I'd like to revive the character and publish more books about her, now I can't do so because everybody's gonna think I'm copying Megan." Um, which, I mean, I can see that claim made very much, but another complaint that she might have is that it's now tainted by being something that is associated with Meghan Markle. It's Meghan Markle's reputation herself, and the fact that she pulled out this idea and now it's covered with the taint of Meghan Markle. And I think there is maybe some kind of financial loss there. I'm not sure what is true, how much is true when the article title says that the woman was, initiated and I'm sorry, I'm calling her the woman and not her name. I did not grab her name when I read it, but she the article title, as is common in the media and something that anybody should look for, the article title says that she's launching a lawsuit. When I read the article itself, I didn't see anything about a lawsuit being launched, or maybe it said legal action. The only thing I saw was like a cease and desist letter that had been sent to Netflix back at the time of the production, or it didn't even get into production, the pre-production of Pearl, for them to cease and desist on that merit, and I very much doubt that they would on that on the basis of those books alone. Had it gone to production and to post-production, maybe they would have, at least paid her for her idea and her efforts, or maybe even involved her. But, I can see the woman's being upset about the loss of being able to use this character that she created, because it's now been covered with the corruption of crazy Meghan Markle, who has just turned everything she touches into a laughing stock, a scandal, or maybe a crime, if some people are to be believed, but who knows anything about that? I certainly don't. Moving on. Okay, here's a brand new piece of gossip having to do with our favorite brand, Ass Ever. Yeah. We know that Ass Ever is the brainchild of Meghan Markle, and we also know that production troubles have abounded with getting this business that Meghan is founding, or foundering while founding, um, off the ground. That uh, people who have that there's a very limited body of products right now. What she launched sold out really quickly. Can you imagine? Probably because she only put very limited amounts on sale. She also limited the scope of what she was actually selling. But don't worry, dried out weeds made the list. If you've been watching my videos, critiquing with Love Megan. I think I made this video trying to avoid doing episode 7 of it, actually, but episode 7 is in the works. It's mapped out. It just needs to be talked about, and I am avoiding it. But anyway, Megan's business sucks, her show sucks, and with the suckage that's going on and the fact that she hasn't even trademarked what she's got, and she's having problems with supply, she's having problems getting products together, and rumor has it that she may be deciding to cut away from a standard business model with, products in stores and products being sold online, and slip into a business model that is very, very productive, or very, very money making for those at the top. And that is the ever loved business model of the MLM, which stands for multi level marketing. If you aren't sure of some products that are multi-level are marketed, I've got kind of a graphic of a few of the most known: Amway, Mary Kay, Cutco, good God, Tupperware, Pampered Chef, that one's everywhere, um, Arbonne, I think, is one. Um, there's one for hair shampoo that has been proven to make your hair fall out, but they still all um, swear by it, and it becomes a culture, a very cult-like culture at the MLM business model. And so that is what I would encourage you to research a little bit about if you don't know what an MLM is. If you do, what you do is you start with somebody at the top, and then they give inventory to, or buy, they have people under them buy inventory of their, buy sections of inventory of their total inventory of their product. And then those people under them, like I'm sure makeup artist Daniel will get into this MLM line somehow, probably not as near the top as he would hope. And then you take a commission from the sales of those under you, as well as take the money that they have to pay to you to get product to sell. Then they have people under them who buy product from them. And remember, whatever they buy from anybody under you, you take a commission from. Commissions go up the top until you have people. You're basically buying and selling the same product over and over again. And people think they can get rich very quickly, and they're told that they can. We've already seen Meghan doing some of the things that go along with MLM culture, like the vision board she made. That came out of nowhere. It this all is screaming, maybe she's gonna do that. So that's a little bit of gossip I heard that I thought I'd share with you. Maybe true, may not be true, but it may be one way for her to make some money while getting out from under the fact that she has created a disastrous product. And who's to see? It may work, it may not even happen, but that is the biggest kind of future looking piece of gossip that I have. And I have one more piece of future looking gossip, and then I will let you go for today. Okay, last piece of gossip starts from a blind that came out from, I think, Crazy Days and Nights this past week, where someone said that Harry got sick at a party with some very influential people, and to the point that Meghan was encouraged to, look after her husband because apparently he got very drug addled at an event. Now, when I heard the blind, it made me think of something that I heard wherein Harry and Meghan had been at dinner with Brian Robbins and his wife, who was also on the episode 7 of With Love Megan, Tracy Robbins. So, and we've seen Harry and Meghan with Brian and Tracy Robbins before. Now, who Brian Robbins is he is co-CEO of Paramount. And yeah, it was looking like Paramount was going to get bought out, and I think they did by Skydance Pictures, but what's happening is that everything is kind of being reformatted, the business infrastructure is being reformatted underneath the Paramount brand because it's more recognizable than, say, Skydance. So I think they're choosing to call it Paramount. But this is what I am hearing is going to happen next. Megan's not getting Netflix renewed, any kind of renewed contract with Netflix. She even tried to float some rumor I heard where Prince Harry was going to be doing a Diana movie, but Prince Harry heard that and shut that down immediately, because Megan was looking for anything to try to make it look like she's going forward with Netflix because that's her preference. Um, that said, if she can't do Spotify, she'll do Lemonada, and if she can't do Netflix, the word is that her next big company deal, which will not be big at all, think of it on terms similar to Lemonada, um, that her next deal is gonna be with Paramount. I heard that she had Paramount there shooting, film for the Nigerian trip, and that some kind of documentary type thing supposed to be made for that. I've heard some things about Megan trying to pivot Paramount. Almost Megan trying to pivot to marijuana. I don't know, maybe I think she's already pivoted to that. I don't know that, obviously, probably not. don't come for me. But anyway, Megan is probably going to pivot from Netflix to Paramount. So when it comes out that they don't have a deal with Netflix anymore, she's going to act like she chose to go to Paramount instead. That is the gossip I'm hearing. That's what I'm predicting. And like with any kind of gossip, we'll just see if it comes true or not. But that's all I have on that front. And that's all for me today, everybody. I have engaged in some good gossip. I have both complained and explained. I have been right. I have been wrong. We have covered the full gamut today. And thank you for joining it with me. Please, if you would, remember to like, subscribe, and leave feedback for me in the comments. And check out some of my other videos. A lot of the stuff that we cover here, there are other whole videos on, like Sentabale. There's one on the I reviewed the Polo video docu-series, which was a an assignment for sure. You can check that one out. We talk about some of the things that I go over when I've reviewed some of the With Love Megan episodes. There's just all kinds of stuff over here on the channel if you're new, and if you're old, thanks for coming or old, or if if you're familiar with the channel, thank you for coming back to visit me today. It's good to see you again, and I hope to see you in the future as I keep trying to roll out videos. The next one, I promise, will be my review of episode 7 of With Love Megan. God help us, and God bless us, and I will see you all soon. Bye bye.